Hello and welcome, it's Chris from Christopher Holt Training. Welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to go through 4 cycling tips for commuters that could save your life. Now, I'm saying this, I'm a cyclist and I'm a car driver, so I do understand there are good cyclists, there are bad cyclists, there are good drivers, there are bad drivers. So comments below about those types of things I'm not terribly interested in. What we've got to be able to do is be as safe on the road as we can. And these are sort of born out of some of the observations that I've had as a cyclist and a car driver. So number 1 is probably the most obvious tip that anyone would give, and I would hope it would be first on everyone's list anyway, and that is to wear a helmet. The amount of cyclists that I see not wearing a helmet, I can understand why they're not. It's probably the number 1 thing that will save your life. If you get knocked off by a car, which I have been knocked off by a car, and my head did hit the road, or my helmet did hit the road, and no matter how fast you're going, you come off the bike. You don't necessarily have to get hit by a car, but you come off your bike, there is a very good chance that your head is either going to hit the floor, be it on grass or on a gravel path, or it's going to hit the pavement or on the road, depending wherever you are. So number 1 is wear a helmet. Your shoulder, your wrist, I broke my wrist as well doing it. I broke a bone, well, I broke a bone in my hand and I broke a bone in my elbow. But the most important part was the head, because I can come back from a broken wrist or a broken arm, but I can't necessarily come back from an injury involving the head. So number 1 is wear a helmet. Number 2, and this is something that I see a lot of certainly commuter cyclists not doing, and that is to look around. Certainly when you're either changing lane or you're changing the position that you are in the road. So you might be turning, and what you need to be able to do is observe what is around you. Now, I learnt this when I started riding a motorbike at 16. So you go through what's called a compulsory basic training, and they teach you one simple thing with regards to observing, and that is you're cycling along. Generally, we're on the inside of the lane, so we're nearest the pavement. So what we do before we come out and go to the middle of the road, if we want to turn to the right or turn to my right, is look over your shoulder. See what's behind you. You don't change, you don't move direction, you don't change where you are in the road, you just look over your shoulder. You can see what's coming, you can see what's there, then you look back, then you signal. So then you put your arm out to say, I'm coming out into the middle of the road, or I'm turning right, or whatever it might be. And then what you do is you look again to make sure the same car is in the same place and it's not speeding up. So it's a very simple process of we are cycling along. We don't change lane, so we just stay going in the direction that we're going in. So we give ourselves plenty of time. So this might be 100 yards, 50 yards before we are changing where we are in the road. We look over the shoulder. Okay, I can see the car behind me. It's staying behind me. I look back. I see the road in front of me is clear. I go to change direction, so I put my arm out. What I am then able to do, bring the arm back in, look back over my shoulder, it's still where I saw it before, and then I move. So that's tip number 2, is to observe. So it's look, signal, look, maneuver. Very simple, but I see so many cyclists, they either don't look and don't signal and just move out in the road, or they're cycling along, they start moving and they signal, or they signal and move. Now, me as a driver that's behind that, I could be speeding up. As soon as they signal and start moving, I've already hit the back of them. So it's very important to be able to know what is around you. Tip number 3 is very similar and sort of in some respects comes off the back of what I've just talked about. And that is take out your earphones. The reason for that is I've just mentioned about looking over your shoulder and looking for cars. If you've got these in and you are cycling along, you can't hear the cars that are around you, or you will be distracted by whatever is being played. Now, if you have a car coming up fast behind you, you can hear it. If you can hear it, you can look for it, and you could either move onto the pavement, or you could stop, or you could just move into the road, and you could let that car go past you. The other thing is to be mindful of is the distractions that are around you all the time. You've got people on the pavement, you've got people in cars, as I've mentioned, you've got other cyclists, so you've got a lot of stimulus around you. The last thing you need is another stimulus, being music or radio or whatever it might be. You want to be focusing on not only what's in front of you, not only what's to the side of you, but also what's behind you. And this is another way of figuring that out. So yes, I've talked about observing and looking over your shoulder to see what's coming. But what we also have to be mindful of is when we are cycling along, can we hear something coming up behind us? Could be a lorry, could be a car. We don't know what it is if we've got earphones in. So number 3 is take out your earphones and focus on not only what is in front of you, but what is all around you on the road. And then number 4 is, so the scenario could be you're going along the road and you've got the right of way, and there is a junction to your left. So you're on the inside of the road, close to that junction. One of the things I'm always mindful of is, have they seen me? So what is the thing that I do? I try to get eye contact with the driver. So I might be slowing myself down because I haven't got eye contact. I will then make sure I get contact or eye contact, and then I will continue at the speed that I was going. If I don't get contact, one of the first things that I'll do is I'll start to slow down. So I might stop pedaling. That will start to slow me down naturally. I'll keep trying to get eye contact. Another thing that I will start to do is start to move out in the road, because if they start coming out of the junction, start edging their car out, then I've got another split second to maneuver and move myself. Now again, if I'm moving out, I need to give myself the time, look over my shoulder, look back, possibly signal. If there's nothing there, then I can just move out. So it's very much being mindful of the environment that is around you. We're taking all the precautions we can by trying to get eye contact. If we're not getting eye contact, slow down. If we're still not getting eye contact, move out. But if we are choosing to move out, make sure we observe, look over, possibly signal if we have to, look over again, and then start to maneuver out. But all the time we're slowing down because we're not pedaling. We may even be pulling on the brakes slightly. As soon as we get eye contact, we can then continue on at the pace that we were going. So those are my 4 tips for cycling, for commuters, to help save your life out on the road. Number 1, wear a helmet. Number 2, observe. So it's look over the shoulder, signal, look over the shoulder, then maneuver. Number 3, take out the earphones. You've got to be aware of what's going on around you, and you can if you've got those in. And then number 4 is make sure you're getting eye contact with drivers if they're potentially going to pull out into the road that you've got the right of way on. So many thanks for watching. This has been slightly different to my normal tutorials, but hopefully it's helpful. Hopefully it gives you a better idea and a few more skills to be out on the road. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris from Chris for Whole Training. I'll speak to you in the next tutorial.